Hey, you there. Thank you for watching, and welcome to Forge Lines Forever. Today, I have a 3v3 ladder match here on the most amazing Neuroxys map generator. So let's go ahead and introduce our teams and our players. Starting off with Team 1, also known as the Blue Team in the Northwest, and ending with Team 2, also known as the Red Team in the Southeast. Starting off with Team 1, the Southern player, then going clockwise, we have in Stitch Blue, it is Azure Phoenix, definitely aptly named for being on Team 1. He is a 1577 rated player. He is the highest rated player on Team 1. To his northeast, we have in Royal Blue, it is Schumer. He is a Seraphim for this match as a 1548 rated. And last but not least, for Team 1, we have in Amethyst Purple, it is Eco Player 7. He is a UEF. He is a 1374 rated. So for Team 1 side of the map, they have a Seraphim flanked by 2 UEFs, so no Aeons, no Cyberns for Team 1. Starting off with Team 2's northeastern player, and then going clockwise as well, we have in Ruby Red, Kaze. I don't really know if the E is said or not. I think I'll probably say his name both ways throughout the match. He's an 1828 rated. He is the highest rated player on Team 2 and in the game overall. To his southwest, we have in Chevy Crimson another Cybrid. It is Han. He is a 1367 rated. And last but not least, for Team 2 and the game, it is Didvo. He is a third Cybern for Team 2. So an all Cybern team for Red Team. He is a 1358 rated. So for Team 2 side of the map, again, like I said, is completely all Cyberns, so no Aeons, no Seraphim, no UEF, which means for the entirety of this match, there are no Aeon players. Apologies to those loyal to the princess. Hopefully you enjoyed the game nonetheless. And for the 6 players on the map, let's take a look at the reclaim situation. Currently sitting at 22,000 mass and reclaim. This makes it a little shy of 4,000 mass per player. Definitely worth grabbing as much mass as possible, especially in the middle of the map. There is some mass, of course, on Team 1 and Team 2 sides, but it's mainly down this kind of middle section of the map. Speaking of mass, of course, taking a look at the mechs count, or mechs groupings, or major ones. For Team 1, there is a 5-star mechs in the northwest being grabbed by Schumer. Another 5-star mechs here and here for Azure Phoenix. And then there's a Trimex position in the east. And that's pretty much it. There's a couple of mexes on that mid line, but there's not that many. There's a couple of pawns to hide in. Maybe we'll see some Navy down the middle from one player or the other. It is a small portion of the map, so maybe, but don't know if it's going to be worth it. Every time I say that, of course, somebody ends up being dipped his toes in the Navy sort of thing, so we'll see if that actually does come into play or not. We do see it's going to be a 2v2 in the west between Team 1 and Team 2, and then a 1v1 in the east. So no advantages one way or the other. Those look like T2 land is now done for Didvol, so trying to get that tech upline sooner rather than later. We do see that Azure Phoenix is actually pushing heavily into Team 2's territory. And it's very much kind of just can be somewhat difficult to hold the front line, at least on the western and the eastern sides, especially when you get to the point where Azure Phoenix is, because you have 1, 2, 3, technically 4 entry points, but you can kind of really count this as 1, so you would have a focus point here and a focus point here, but there is a small avenue here to try to scoot units by, so it's going to be very difficult, especially with the early phase, to really hold Team 1 and Team 2 at bay for any sort of run-bys, as we see on the eastern side with Kaze pushing in on this northeastern side, trying to go after those engineers running around for those other mexes. No come-on-come action as of yet, but I wouldn't be surprised to see some shortly. We do see it's possibly going to happen first in the east between Kaze and Eco. We do see this nice little Team 1 bomber just causing some chaos over there. Lots of air facilities and land facility headquarters are being done to scale, of course, to the T3 tech that we all know and love. Gun has been started here and done for Azure Phoenix, excuse me. He's now going for another upgrade on board that comm. We do see in the east the first come-on-come action has occurred between Eco and Kaze. Kaze dropping very low into the yellow, almost into the red. He does drop into the red, Is Eco just going to go for the straight kill, or will he let him escape? There are a lot of T1 units nearby for Kaze, so he might be able to get out of there. It does look like he will. And he's going to be knocked out of the fight for a while. There's also some reinforcements inbound from Schumer to assist that eastern front. But it does look like Team 2 will be pushed back. This T2 land headquarters might not survive. Maybe, maybe not. But with Kaze being so low in hit points, it might just be that Team 2 is going to get run over at least a little bit on that eastern side. We do see there's an attack inbound from Han against Schumer, who has gun on board. Same with Han, so no advantage one way or the other. We do see a couple of units trying to skate by here for Didvo, but they do get caught, so it's not going to get as much done as they would have liked. And we do see that Eco Azure's over there on the western side, continuing to assault this base. There is a Tickle Cannon online and more coming online all the time. He has fallen into the yellow, so he has to be a little bit more careful. But he does have some units skating in on this eastern side as well, so nice little two-pronged attack inbound for him. And it's still a comp action between Schumer and Han. And Schumer dropping 4,000 hit points and falling. Han, again, similar situation, dropping into the red. Both players are in the red. If one control Ks, the other one will die. Oh, some shots not going into Han's comm. Han gets underneath the water, and Schumer gets underneath the water, so both those players will be safe for now. We do see Phoenix coming in with his gun and nanocom pushing back those forces from Han. And Han making a comment that there's two comms. Yep, there are two of them, of course, and that puts him at a severe disadvantage. One of them, of course, is in the red as well. And a couple of T2 torp bombers could kill him off. So he needs to at least get back to land or get to someplace where he doesn't get shot at very quickly. T3 air has been started for Han in the back, so he's going for air. I don't see any other T3 air facilities started, so it's only going to be one air player for Team 2. Looks like possibly one air player for Schumer here shortly, just to, of course, fight back on Team 1, Team 2's air front. You see just a couple of units just having some tussles over there, but not really a lot of momentum one way or the other. We do see there's more units rushing in to secure the breach. But it does look like the nice little upper plateau causing a little bit of annoyance for Azure's comm, but nothing too damaging, just annoying at the minimum. We do see in the east that does look like Kaze with a stealth upgrade and now gun on board has been able to push a little bit back from Team 1, but there's now another attack inbound from Schumer's forces and Eco Player's comm attacking this side, and it's just crazy nonsense, just constant back and forth here. But this T2 force and T1 force has broken through the western front, and it does look like, again, in a similar situation that happened in the east a couple of moments ago. Team 1, they might hold them right there, but they've lost some eco. Team 2 has lost some eco. Team 1 and Team 2 overall roughly in lockstep with one another, about a couple mass per second more for Team 1, but again, nothing to write home about, nothing too crazy ahead one way or the other. Kaze on a transport, getting back home. Definitely don't blame him in that regard. Looks like he got it gifted over from his teammate, given the fact that it is UEF tech. We do see Eco Player continuing to just push and take out as whatever he can. He's not going to do lasting damage in terms of, taking out an entire player's base sort of thing, but he is going to take out a lot of manufacturing. He does have to be careful, though, because Kaze is inbound, and he has stealth on board. Eco Player would not be able to see him until he comes into visual range. There's some T1 gunships nearby, which are slowly eating away at his hit points as well. And he has to be very careful. This could be the first kill of the game. We do see Han starting Nano on board that comm as well, and he's losing hit points, Eco, very quickly. T1 PD being built by Kaze to assist with the eradication of Eco's comm, and this might be the first kill of the game, and probably will be the first kill of the game. Below 25 hit points and falling below 1,500, below 1,000, and there he goes, pushed way too far forward and got caught and got killed for it. It is now a 2v3 game in favor of the red team on Team 2 side of the map, and that will put, looks like, Schumer in control most likely of Eco Player's stuff. Yep, there it is. So it's going to be Schumer on the east and Azure on the west. And with a slight advantage in comms, maybe we'll see Team 2 push in a little bit more. The only problem with that, of course, is that you're putting your comm in an interesting situation. It is 14 minutes, so snipes tend to occur about 20 or so minutes. At least that's kind of the trend that I've seen in some games. So comms are going to be very careful around that mark. And then, of course, we have Han. He's getting back up into the high yellows, almost into the green. And with the nano, he'll get back up there very quickly. We do see, of course, Didval pushing in with his T2 and Stealth Comm. Azure has Gun and Nano. So he would win that fight very easily if it was a 1v1 scenario. We do see, again, more forces inbound from Didval to push back. Azure's, he doesn't really have that many in terms of T2 or just Team 1 in general. He's kind of outnumbered and outgunned quite literally, so he has to be very careful how much he pushes in. He might as well try to fall back to this 5-star mech position right here and try to establish a nice little front line. Yeah, you'd have this avenue you'd have to watch out for, but you can grab most of the avenues that way and then just post up some PD or something right there. We do see in the east Team 2 pushing in. Guys are getting through the essentially front side or whatever the mountain hills plateau areas. There are some forces stacked up here for Schumer, but there's nothing too worrisome for Team 2. And there's are a couple of forces stacking up here, but there are some PD being built. I don't think this is going to be enough. There's a decent amount of rhinos. They're actually all rhinos, in fact. So, yeah, that's not going to stop this incoming attack. There are some T2 gunships coming online here for Schumer. Again, they're stingers. They're nothing to write home about by any means, but again, it's better than nothing. Team 1 does have T3 air online. Team 2 has T3 air online. But again, Team 1 having one player having double base could be the thing that wins Team 1 the mid game, just because that gives a huge boost in eco. But considering the fact that Azure Phoenix, who has no double base, is slightly behind his teammate on double base, definitely indicates that it's going to be a lot of eco soon to come to fruition here for Team 1. Schumer dropping off his comm in the heat of combat, not essentially on top of them, but close by. He has Gun and Nano on board, and he'll shove those rhinos away. Stingers coming in to assist. So, oh, I guess there's one banger in the mix. Apologies. There was one other unit. D3 land is now done for Azure. Again, he has Percy's. So does Schumer now, so that'll be a huge boost in firepower on the front lines for T3. Of course, that will make using experimentals not necessarily, null and void, but if Team 1 can stack up enough of those things, good luck. There are no Aeons, so there's no Volcanoes, there's no Colossi, there's no Aurora, there's nothing that they obviously are known for. So the only hover tech that these players have access to are the T2 ones that everybody has access to, and then the T1 Zooey, and then I think the T2 Flak also for the Seraphim is hover, and then the T3 Parashield / other Parashields for the UEF side of things. We do see there's a resurgence in momentum here for Team 1 on the western side. The Comm pushing him with a couple of his forces has some nice flapjacks online, starting to attack at range. And we do see that Team 2 is just not pushing in, at least on this west side of the pond here, as much as they probably could, but it does look like the upper plateau has been knocked out by some pillars that were transported up there to just deal with that position. Air Force is stacking in the middle here for Team 1, and on the eastern side, Stinger's still running around, but there is some flak, which has dealt with that quite nicely, so nothing too worrisome to worry about at this point for air for Team 1, but Schumer sending his comm in once again. And he's going to... no. He's going to probably wait for his ASFs and interceptors to clear a path, possibly. He does transport his comm. Nope, he's not going to drop it there. The transport is decently wounded, so he just has to be careful of how much damage it actually gets done to him. But those Team 1 Jesters are just being eradicated by interceptors. It looks like he's going to drop right in the middle of this base here for Kaze. That's really going to hurt. There's no PD nearby. Very, very dangerous move here. Will it succeed? Looks like T1 PD trying to be built instantaneously. P-Gen's going down. Gunship helping out as much as it can. Of course, there's interceptors and gunships and whole over... Actually, there's no gunships. There's only interceptors and ASFs overhead. Those look like Team 2 just not prepared for this move. I wouldn't have suggested it by any means. Schumer is being shot at by a couple of Team 1 PD, but he's going after the mexes. I think the goal for Team 2 would be to knock out the transport, which I think they've done. I don't see the transport anywhere. I thought I saw it, but maybe not. And it does look like Schumer has dealt with most of the major structures here. There is a T2 air facility still online, but again, nothing too worrisome. You see a couple of rhinos inbound, and Schumer might be making his long trek home. There are some units inbound transport. Now it's a Continental. He's upgraded. Got to pick up that comm and get out of there. Again, very dangerous move. Is he going to get out of there immediately? No, he's going to keep going. He's going to go for the backline T2 position here. Lots of mexes back here. That's 45 mass a second if all of them go down. ASF's over the top. The transport, of course, going to be immediately targeted, so it does not get away. Transport lost its shields and a couple of HP, but nothing, again, too bad. But this is very not great here for Team 2. Lots and lots of mass being lost here. Team 1, of course, is slowly pulling away due to just this move alone. And again, it's very not common to see this move at all, let alone in a ladder match where Team 1 is down a player, so if Schumer is killed off, it'll be a 1v3 scenario, which not a great place to be, especially in ladder. He's going to get that transport out of there. Yep, he is. Shield is back online. Oh, he has to be careful. Transport's taking some hits. Ooh. He's got to drop it. Oh, no! Ooh, not great here for Team 1. They lost the comm. He tried to transport it up away, but just was not going to get out of there. It is now a 1v3 scenario. And Team 2 has now turned this game from an annihilation to an assassination game. They only need one more kill and they win the game. That was a very bold move, but we'll see if it's worth it at the end if Team 1's Azure Phoenix can win the game. Because, he probably should have... It's hard to say. He probably should have went north, maybe, instead of going west. Or he could have just walked a little bit, maybe, when he saw the ASFs nearby. I don't know. It is kind of a weird position to put yourself in, and let alone get out of there. So, we do see an attack trying to just take out a couple of mexes here, a couple of Percys running around, a couple of pillars, lots and lots of stuff running around here for Azure Phoenix on the western side. They've not really sending that much into the breach, but just enough to be annoying. It pulls the entire force away, which could give a little bit of ground to Team 2, but there's really not much here to push into this nice little fire base that's online. Lots of PD, more of them being built online, so not really going to be worth it in terms of just trying to take it out with a couple of forces. Eastern side here, Team 2 has pushed into essentially a little bit further than what Team 1 has, but again, nothing too bad. We do see a couple of mexes have been assassinated, but a couple of rhinos by Kaze. There's a lot of forces starting to run around. Again, fatigue, all of that stuff is starting to set in for everybody, but especially now for Azure Phoenix, who is on triple base and all alone. So it has to be very careful where his comm is at all times, because if he dies, that's game over for Team 1. We do see a force massing over here. A couple of Loyalists love to see those things. There are some Percy stacking up, so not going to be a great fight for Team 2, but just depends if they get the EMP weapons trained on those Percys or not. Omni's online for 2 players on Team 2. Love to see that, especially with the backup. Percy's engaged. Loyalists fall back. All the supporting forces for the Percys are eliminated. But they have to 3-shot the Percys, which isn't super great. Oh, I guess they can't be EMP'd. Oh, no, they can be. Okay, that's what I was going to say. Because I remember the Percys being able to be EMP, but there's some Titans inbound to the east. That'll help mop up the T1, T2 forces. But there's a lot of them stacking up here over for Kaze, so probably not a good idea for Team 1 to have sent those forces in. But again, he's trying to micro so much. He's going to be making mistake after mistake just because of the everything going on. Taking a look at the game overall, Team 1 has lost 2 of their 3 players, being Eco early and then Schumer just recently. And Team 2 has not lost anything as of yet. Eco situation is favoring Team 2, actually, even with the demise of all of those mexes on the eastern side. Team 2 is actually in the lead, just barely, but they're in the lead for mass income. Let me know down in the comments who you think is going to currently win this game. Of course, if you haven't done so already, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. And as always, thank you so very much for watching. I really do appreciate it. We do see Schumer still alive, still helping out as best he can, saying, hey, there's reclaim here and whatnot, trying to help take a little bit of the load off for Azure, but there's only so much you can do. Transported units have been dropped off. Looks like a nice little Sparky's nearby. Love to see those units be deployed. Again, nothing too damaging, but, you know, a little bit of damage, especially the Team 1 units, isn't too bad. Shield is done on board Azure's comm, so he's a little bit more protected against any sort of snipes or direct fire, indirect fire, or nukes, or what, well, like, actually not nukes, but anything else that's going to shoot at him. In the east, attack is inbound from Azure, but I don't think it's really going to get anywhere. There are a lot of Percys stacked up here, which they can almost one-tap forces very easily. There are some tickle cannons, and once the EMP weapons are dealt with, they don't have to worry about being stopped in terms of firing. Brick is dead. Now it's just going to be the eradication of everything else. This is the one downside to the Percys, though. Lots of targets make it very difficult for Percys to eliminate quickly, just because they fire, they reload, they fire, they reload, they fire, they reload. And you can see, you know, multiple Percys shooting at one target. Not really great for, what would you call that? Just shot efficiency, where, you know, one target or one unit shoots at one thing, one unit shoots at another thing, instead of, you know, 4 units shooting at the one thing that's already dead by the time, you know, the second shot lands. ASF's over the top. Don't know where they're going, but they're just hanging out. Does Team 2 any plans for late game, end game? There is a monkey started here for Kaze on the front lines. Cut down on that travel time severely. On the western side, nothing too damaging. There is a Monkey Lord now just barely online for Team 2, and that will help push this force back from Azure. Azure making great work of pushing Team 2 back in multiple areas, but again, like I said, the fatigue is sitting in. And there's only so much you can do. Lots of spam inbound, and those T2 PD are essentially being nullified by all of those EMP weapons on board the Medusas. No experimentals coming online for Team 1 as of yet. Surprised not seeing any chickens out of that base here for Azure, but, you know, could be working on other things. Monkey Lord going to rip the rest of these units apart. There's not enough Percys to one-tap it or two-tap it at least, so it's going to be a decent amount of reclaim for Team 2 to scoop up. An Eco player makes a comment. There is a Monkey Lord over there. I don't know if it's that one or if it's the other one. Don't bet it is that one, because there is one being built in Kaze's base. But we do see the attack once again pushing in. There's not that many more defenders here for Team 2, so this base is not going to stand much longer. The P-Gem would actually be a good target. It would AoE a little bit of shots. Oh, speaking of which, it does get taken out. Don't know why that P-Gen was there anyway, but Monkey Lord, of course, being hastily built as fast as possible. 29, almost 30 minutes on the clock here. And Team 2, I mean, they're starting to pull away in mass income. 100 mass more per second. That is definitely a concerning amount of mass. We do see Han is not the leader of it, but he's had a lot of time to just hang out and build SimCity a little bit with his air grid and mexes and whatnot. So there is a T2 naval headquarters online for Kaze, and of course, being a cyborg, he can build those nasty little Salems who can sprout legs and walk on, well, not walk on water, but walk on land. There are some Percys nearby, though, and they might actually go after the headquarters. They might just take that out before it's able to build any sort of annoying little Salems. And it looks like that might be the target. There is a brick trying to chase that Percy. Percy will get taken out. Ooh, it's going to be close to the first one, but I think the T2 naval headquarters will be knocked out. Definitely unfortunate for Kaze. But, you know, he did get a nice little siren online for some AA. But it does look like there's going to be a small airfight going after those gunships. Looks like Azure will actually win that airfight. And those gunships, one will make it out of danger, it looks like, but nothing too bad. He wins the airfight, Team 1. That's the big thing. And the monkey does go down on the western side. The reclaim will go to Team 1. There's a lot of bricks, but they are retreating in the face of that Percy horde. It is definitely worrisome here for that brick force. And that Monkey Lord is done in the east. So there is that ability for Team 2 to strike back. Probably at this position, maybe just ramrod it all the way through to... Who was that? Was that Eco Player's old base? So just run it straight through. Might even just be able to do that right now because there's nothing in the middle of that Monkey Lord and that base. Gunships being deployed. Looks like there's a little bit of AoE, a little bit being a decent amount actually. We'll shove those gunships away. Those Percy's wanting to make sure they secure the wreck, but Team 2 does have a lot of forces nearby, so that's not really going to cause them to be in a great position. But, you know, hey, they will secure the reclaim most likely, get that mass, funnel it into something. We do see that Monkey Lord, either he heard me through the ether or had his spies out, his feelers or whatever. But main weapon now going after those Percy's. Not a great day to be a Percy. Those spearheads trying to flee. The Percy trying to get out of range, but it's just not going to be enough. Of course, this will give a little bit of time for Azure to reply to this. And I wouldn't be surprised to see some gunships being deployed here shortly. I don't think he has that many gunships to deploy, actually. Oh, no, they're stacking up over here. So, yeah, maybe there's an attack inbound from those gunships. Oh, yep, and there they go. Going straight for it. Percy's going to try to delay, I think, as much as possible. And they will take out a decent amount of hit points before those gunships even arrive. That's why it's dangerous to go one versus a group of Percy's, because hit point count goes down very quickly. And here comes the gunships, and they'll wipe out the Monkey Lord. That's going to be another wreck for Azure to grab. And on the western side, there are some engineers trying to actually grab that old monkey wreck. But they're fighting in terms of engineers between Team 1 and Team 2, but again, there's a focus from Didvol to just go after all of the reclaim. But there's not really that many engineers nearby left, and I think Ash is going to push in and grab that wreck and be done with it. Nano done. Cloaking started for Didvol, so maybe we'll see a laser cloaking comm here for Team 2. Oh, he's canceled it. Laser done for Han, though. Does he have teleporter on board? He does not have teleporter. He has nano, so maybe he'll trade that out for a teleporter. And Team 2 could, quote-unquote, afford to lose a comm, because in a 1v3 game, even if Han doesn't get any kills or whatnot, they still have 2 players left, and they're all Cybran. So technically we have 3 shots for Telemazer. So is it the best move? Maybe. But at a minimum, it's not going to completely kill Team 2's game if one of them dies to a unsuccessful Telemazer. We do see a couple of AA over here just ripping apart a couple of ASFs. Gunship's just going to be hanging out. Looks like they're going for this base. And there is some AA in the mix, but there's not too much. And ASF's immediately going in for those gunships inbound from Team 1. There is, again, a little bit of flak and whatnot nearby here for Team 2, so it's really not going to be great for either Air Force, but definitely not going to be great here for Team 1's Azure, though, for sure. Most of those gunships are dead and gone, completely wiped out. And there's more AA being built all the time. So not really a great scenario to be if you're a gunship, and those gunships just get eradicated on the way there. Oof. Oof. Not great. We do see that's just the spam still occurring here for Team 2 on this eastern side. But it's not breaking through as much as they would like. But a new crab online here for Team 2. And that's going to, of course, secure this wreck right here, as well as dealing with the PD placements down there. Azure builds his own experimental. Is it a Fat Boy? It is a Fat Boy, so that'll be nice to have. I feel like building a chicken probably would have been a little bit better, but that's just me. Because I do like the chickens. I think the chickens are very good experimental. Especially with the Ion Storm. That's just like the cherry on the top with that thing. It's just can be very, very devastating. We see a Monkey Lord added to the mix as well. They really want that wreck, and they're sending a lot of engineers after it, but don't. Oh, that's a lot of Percy's. I mean, the crab is starting to back up. Not a great scenario to be if you're the crab, because once those Percy's come into range, that will not necessarily be a one tap, but it's going to be pretty close. Those Percy's just going to rip apart those bricks. Lots of shots actually missing. And here comes the fight. I think this is the first major ground fight. And the Monkey Lord trying to do as much damage as he can on those Percy's. Crab trying to help out as well. Percy's are starting to lose momentum and actually fall back. So nice grab there. That's a lot of damage done to the Team 1's army. So that'll put Team 2 in a really healthy position. Kaze starts laser. So everybody get into some sort of telemaser prep. And it looks like Team 1 on the eastern side might be losing this base in a moment. There's a decent amount of bricks inbound. Lots of engineers stacking up for some reason. No idea what they're doing. But I don't see any plans to end the game from Team 1's Azure. It could just be the fatigue of, microing multiple fronts and losing both of his other teammates earlier and all that. So it might just be taking a toll on him. With the Western attack not going his way, it's just not great. There is a nice little artillery base being built up here. Love to see this. Decent amount of Gunthers up there to just poke and prod at that Fat Boy holding position. Maybe the Percy should have pushed in when they had the Fat Boy nearby. That probably would have been a better situation. But I do get wanting to strike while the iron is hot kind of thing. But the attack in the east is just... it doesn't look like it's really going Team 2's way at all. There's just not enough forces from Kaze to push in and break through. But if the western side does fall, that might... I don't want to say that might be game, but... that's where Azure's calm is, and he might just get overwhelmed by bricks or monkeys or whatever. That Fat Boy is starting to move out of artillery range, but it will kind of isolate Team 1's efforts over there. And gunships try to go in, but there's just a decent amount of AA anyways. Bricks going through the water down the center line. There are some Percys moving in to intercept, but there's more there's more bricks than Percys, so there's that to consider. And it looks like the gunship is just going to go for that attack anyways, which is probably the better idea because there's no AA in that mix. Are there any big ticket items here for Team 2 at all? Nope. Graham started almost done for Kaze, so that'll be a huge advantage in taking out that base that's been vexing him for a while. There's now 2 Fat Boys online here for Team 1, and that alone isn't super worrisome. But if he gets to 4, or even 3 is a little bit close, but definitely 4, and of course 5, that's starting to be critical mass of Fat Boys. You got to be worried about your opponent stacking those up because they can just rip anything apart, and they can fire while they move backwards. So we got to worry about that as well, about chasing him down. SMD built. It's been loaded. I don't see any nukes online for Team 1. But it's nice to have an SMD. Easy counter to a nuke. Build an SMD, call it a day. And that force from Team 2 is pushed back. There's now a second crab online for Didvol. So that's going to be enough to crack all of the everything. It looks like there's actually some power issues for Azure as well. And that's where most of the hit points on the Fat Boy lie are in the shields. At least the base hit points. No veterancy kind of hit points kind of thing. Those bricks, again, still causing a little bit of havoc, but they may not get that much done. A couple of mass storages go down. Looks like maybe a couple of mexes will be killed off here. But, it's not a bad attack. It's going to take out a couple of mexes. Just slowly eat away at Azure's eco. Team 1 sitting at less than 800 mass income. Team 2, 1.3k, so 500 mass more. I'm surprised that there isn't more stuff online at this point, given a huge mass discrepancy. We do see, will he get the 4th one? He will grab the 4th one, so that's over 100 mass killed for Azure. Definitely going to hurt things in the next couple of minutes for sure. Crab pushing in on the west side, units pushing in, other units pushing in on the eastern side. Looks like it's going to draw the attention away for these forces, allowing them to get a little bit closer and just actually kind of cause their own pincer maneuver to occur. And now we see a couple of sirens in the water, some cruisers having some fun. And that T2 naval headquarters is now rebuilt. Destroyer now finally online after 20 plus minutes of not being able to build that thing. Percy's now getting into close range of that megalith, and there's some Fat Boy, of course, assistance all the time. That first crab will die right next to that first monkey lord that died over here. And there goes that first crab. Second crab, of course, it's pretty fine. The paint's been chipped a little bit, but nothing too damaging. Those fat boys are in full retreat. Artillery helping out as best they can. This western side is starting to collapse. The eastern side is also starting to collapse. Unless Team 1's Azure has some bulletproof plan on taking out everybody almost at the same time, it's not looking good for Team 1. The Monkey Lord will be taken out, so there's one more experimental that Team 1 has to deal with. And he is going to build a nuke. I don't know if that's worth it at this point, because Team 2 does have an SMD. They have an SMD there. So, and then an SMD there. And there's not an SMD over here, but at least 2 of the 3 main bases are covered. So, don't really know if it's worth it to go for nuke. Does look like the second crab, second crab is down. And Team 2 is going to try to secure the wreck. We do see that Team 2 has spotted the column of Azure. And the Salem moving in to reestablish his position and taking out the mexes once again for the second or third time at this point. Ravagers being built back here. The front line base is knocked out, but they're going to establish a secondary line here, which I wouldn't say is better, but it's just, I don't know, it's, having the Ravagers is definitely helping, obviously, because it's the widest range on board T3. Well, there's the only T3 PD, so it has the largest range of any PD in the game. But Fat Boy taking out shield emplacements, and then going to take out the artillery. It was a nice attempt, but I don't think they're going to do as much work as they probably wanted to. This back line, of course, will be taken out shortly thereafter. And that nuke is already built, so very, very quick nuke. That, I mean, if he loads and fires his nukes fast enough, that might be enough. He's probably going to have to assassinate at least one of the mexes at a minimum. Again, the comm for Kaze's back here has laser and nano, laser, and nano for Didval. So, almost a telemaser, but not really. Then the shield was built, but it's not going to save the rest of that artillery. There's still more artillery back there. Fat Boy's still not down. There's now a chicken online for Azure, so he did dip into Seraphim Tech, which if he goes hugs that crab, that will win that fight, but I don't know if he wants to do that right now. He does have a lot of reclaim to scoop up. Of course, 2 crabs and a Monkey Lord Team 2 already on the case to scoop it up. Definitely love to see that from Didval, to make sure he denies it at a minimum, if not gets it back from his investment earlier on. Crab pushing in. It is taking a lot of flak, a lot of artillery shells from those 2 Fat Boys. Fat Boy is now in range of said crab, but there is some shielding nearby to assist. Shielding is down. Ooh, Fat Boy's taking some hits. Ooh, it's going to be close. The Fat Boy, one more shot will do him in, and the Fat Boy doesn't go down. The chicken immensely helping with that. And it does look like with the now dead experimental Team 2 is just forced to fall back. There's just no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Looks like mass being donated over to the other 2 players on Team 2 from Didval, just to maybe help out with the construction of whatever they're building. Starting cloaking for Didval. Teleporter down for Han. Okay, so that is the thing. If Team 1 does not have adequate PD or telemaser defense, that is not going to be great. Nuke is going to be launching immediately after loading. Looks like that is going over here. I don't know exactly what it's going for. It's not showing me that. Oh, there it is. It's going over here. I mean, it's not a bad base to nuke, but it's going to alert Team 2 to the nuke unless they already know about it. They don't even know about it, so they're definitely going to be made aware of that here shortly. Is that a third? Nope, that's not a third Fat Boy. I thought he was building another one. Oh, he is building another one. It's just not built yet. The nuke is about ready to fire. 47 minutes, and we'll see the first nuke of the game. The question is will it be enough to bring Azure back in this game? And credit where credit is due, he's still alive and well considering the long time he's been playing this match against 3 players. But again, that fatigue is just heavily on his mind, though. We do see 2 crabs assaulting the eastern side, though. There's a lot of Percys over here. But I don't think there's as many as they would like to be. Ravagers, of course, going to target the crab and wipe at least one of them off the map. Here comes that nuke. It is outbound, and that crab is about dead. Bricks coming in to just try to push their way forward. There's more and more stuff inbound all the time. Gunships have been stacking up a little bit. There goes the first crab. Second crab is now going to be the main target of the Ravagers. There's a lot of AA back here, so it has to make sure that they steer clear of that position. And the gunship's going after, it looks like the bricks first. And again, those bouncers have a decent range on board. An airfight will occur in favor of Team 2, not only in terms of AA, but in ASF count, it looks like as well. And even if they didn't have the count, that's a lot of AA to be sitting under. But nice engagement there from Azure's ASF. Unfortunately, they do not save the position. So that eastern front is vulnerable. Here comes that nuke. Kaboom! The SMD barely built and still online, though. So that is going to be a consolation prize in that regard. Attack down the middle, and I think we're seeing the slow demise. Team 1, Han teleports in, takes out that group of mexes. Telecom says Eco, and he should be teleporting out of there. Yep, he's teleporting out of there immediately. Where is he going? He's going into the water. That position's just been knocked out several times at this point. Just has not been a good day to be a Mex in that position by any means. And the pigeons are being targeted. There goes, ooh, a group of ASFs due to that volatile explosion. Not great here for Team 1's Azure. We're keeping at least some of his air online, and I think it's just going to be the beginning of the end at this point, especially with the east lane kind of just knocked out of defenses in the middle, just not having a good day by any means. Another Fat Boy is online. Team 1 has secured the reclaim and already scooped it up, or Team 2 denied it, one or the other. Nuke is half loaded, and Azure is running. He has gun, nano, and shield on board. And there are some T2 gunships inbound. Looks like they're going for the comm. Again, the comm has shields on board, so it's going to be a little bit of time before they chew through all that shielding. And Azure's just going to stand there and try to do as much as he can, which... ooh, he gets a rank of veterancy. That'll help him survive a little bit longer. There's a couple of Ravagers there. And looks like that is going to be enough to stave off death for at least the next couple of minutes. Still the attack in the east rages on. And that nuke is loading. Again, like I said, I think the nuke is not going to really do as much as he probably hopes for. There's too many SMDs, and there's no way for him to strike at them at this point. He's on the back foot. He's been on the back foot for a while. I think the death of Schumer definitely put Team 2 in the driver's seat, and then they kind of just slowly crept on Team 1. T3 Air Headquarters has been canceled, maybe because he already has one. And Telemaser Comm is inbound from Han, going after some engineering drones and some P-gens and whatnot. Omni, that's going to be a great thing to nab there from that volatile. He doesn't grab it, though. That's unfortunate. But he's back in the water again. Didn't take that much damage. But we see the Salem's walking on land, and I think they know what they're going for. I think I know what they're going for at this point. Fat Boys continue to push. There's 2 crabs moving in to intercept. And it's just not... I just don't think it's going to be enough. Nuke is outbound. Where is this one going? Could go for the naval headquarters. That would be a decent grab. It's going to go for the base down here, but the SMD is already here, so it's not going to matter. There hasn't been also, I think, a lot of scouting from Azure as well, so... yeah, there's no scouting pretty much at all. Yep, there goes the nuke. T3 artillery has been started, but I don't think that's needed. With all the forces deployed to the front lines and pushed in, there's nothing to fight the Salem's at range. There are some forces being pulled in from the eastern side, but I just don't know if that's going to be enough. Hard survival last 15 minutes, GG, says Eco. Yeah, it's essentially been that kind of game at this point. Fat Boy online, though. Actually, never mind. That will fight back the Salem's. Never mind. 52 minutes on the clock. Another nuke, almost half loaded once more. All it's going to take is one good telemaser to kill off the comm. There are some Ravagers nearby, so it's going to be a little bit of a tall order. But again, like I said, Team 2 has all of their players remaining, so if one dies to telemaser and isn't successful, it's not the end of the world. And that Fat Boy and Chicken army continuing to just run around, but There's now another experimental added to the mixer for Didvol. And it's just going to be, I think, maybe just a run at the comm at this point. Looks like the forces have been given orders to engage. But yeah, they're just going to go full send it. The Fat Boy is being sent this way. And there's not enough time for Team 1 to try to rush and kill off comms, especially one of them in the water here, one of them back here, and one of them all the way on the eastern side of the map. There's just nothing that they can do with the time that they have. Because that attack is inbound. And unless Azure's paying attention, he needs to start fleeing immediately. He'll probably kill off the monkey before it reaches the base. But I don't think he'll kill off the crabs. Because here goes the HP. You can kind of dodge the shots a little bit from the Ravagers, but it's very difficult. SACU is pushing in on the eastern side. They are Rambo presets, and they have EMP weapons on board, so they are very annoying to deal with, especially with the 400 HP regen. Crabs have reached where Azure's comm is hanging out, and that's dual cannon, so there's two sets of two cannons shooting at whatever they're looking at. And Azure's dropped into the yellow. Actually, crabs have actually stopped moving. So if they kept chasing him, they probably would have killed him off right there. One of the crabs might die. The nuke is about to load. I don't know if it'll fire or not. Hound builds another experimental. Fat Boy is down. Crab is still alive, surprisingly enough. And that Fat Boy is actually getting a little bit of work done. It's actually pushing in again, but like I said, it's a large amount of territory to cross. And they're going to still be chasing after Azure's comm. The nuke is going to be taken out here shortly unless he launches it at this position. He would actually take out both of the crabs if he launched it, which we'll see if he does or not. Explosion happens in the east. That's an SACU going down. The comm is now being hit by that crab that's been severely wounded. Ooh, not great. Two more shots. Tries to dodge one of them. Oh, but there he goes. And the T3 artillery is done. Team 2 wins the game. And that kind of was to somewhat be expected once the death of Schumer happened. I did like the move from him, trying to just get in there unconventional means with the UEF comm, or sorry, Seraphim comm. But he should have fled, I think, north on land a little bit and then transported out of there. The ASS being on top of him definitely... oh, that is what killed him, to be fair, but it just wasn't a great idea. Should have cleared the skies first. But anyway, let me know down in the comments who you think deserves MVP. For me, I just think everybody on Team 2 deserves MVP. But to be fair, the chicken was inbound for Didvol's comm and would have killed him. So Team 1 would have scored a kill, but just needed like a 1 or more minute, like maybe 1 minute. So Team 2 wins a flawless game. Everybody survives on Team 2. It was definitely, everybody was needed. There was no one standout-ish player. I'd say maybe Kaze a little bit more, maybe because of the pressure that he was putting on the eastern front, and then Didvol obviously on the western front. So I don't know. I don't think there's one super standout-ish player, so I can't really vote on MVP one way or the other. But let me know down in the comments who you would vote. Thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it, and I will see all of you in the next one.